And in this next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to actually use the timer so that it can set the mold to jump at certain intervals. Now, we've not added a timer in as of yet. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the designer again, so we can see what the app looks like. I'm going to add in a clock component. Now, if we click on sensor on the palette section at the side here, you'll see a clock. And we drag a clock across. Now, a clock in this case is not visible. It's a hidden component. Okay, now we're going to leave it with the settings it's already set up to. So timer interval is 1000 milliseconds. Okay, now we've added a clock in, we go back to our blocks editor and we can start to use it. So the first thing we do is actually tell it what to do when the timer actually hits its interval. So after 1000 milliseconds. So the first thing we do is go to clock 1, and when clock1.timer do, we need that. Now what it's going to do is actually call this move mold procedure. Normally we'd have to put all this in there, but because it's going to be used across multiple bits, we need to add this in. So we go back to procedure and we use this option here, call move mold. Now instead of having to repeat that all over again in here, we just have to add this block in. Now we've got this section done, we need to also start looking at how to actually program the reset button and the scores. Okay, so first of all, we need to actually tell it what to do when the reset button is clicked. We go to button 1, when button 1.click. Okay, bring that in. Now what we want it to do is to set the score to 0. We want it to run the update score, and then we want it to also to reset the timer. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is tell it to reset the score. So we go to variables, set blank 2. Remember to change that to global score, and then we need to add in a mask component to tell it to actually reset it to 0. The next step is telling it to run the update score procedure. We go to procedure, call update score, and we add that underneath. Now the last thing we need to do is to reset the timer, so the clock. Okay, so we go to clock 1, we scroll down to set clock 1 timer interval 2. Now by default, timer interval is set to 1000. So we go to maths, scroll right to the top, we drag in one of these boxes here with the numbers in, where we can edit it. We change this 0 to 1000. There we go. So when the reset button's clicked, it's now going to do this. The last thing we have to do is now to actually set it to update the score. Go to the next tutorial to find out how to do that.